Hello there guys, today I'm doing my first official progress update for tattoos slash a little bit of piercings in a couple months. As you know, I've been on lockdown where I'm living for a little while, and so I haven't been able to get any progress done in a while, but I do have my first update this week finally, and I couldn't be happier to share it off. So, as I left the last progress vlog saying I had to finish up this arm, well, we did the whole inner bicep, as you can tell, and into a bit of the armpit, and about half of the elbow or more. The entire ditch is done, and we filled in the black filigrees on the other side now to match up with this side. So that's what they'll look like when they're healed, basically. Just a little bit different because the spaces that we were filling were just a little bit different. So yeah, I really like how crisp that black is against the negative space and the old Blackout, and it's going to heal great. So, as I've mentioned in an earlier video, this right arm was the first arm to be blacked out originally. And here you can see the difference between the old and new black. This is healed from a couple months ago, and this is the older black. So you can see that line there. And then that's fresh black. So when you see, like on Instagram, you'll see the day ones, and they'll be super black. They'll generally fade a bit more to like that. If it's well put in, it will never stay that dark generally. But yes, so as I said, this was the first blackout on me, and it was the most needing to be blacked out area on my whole body. Had a lot of problems, a lot of scar in there in the inner bicep and in the ditch, and yeah, just a lot of chewed up old work there we're working on again. That's probably the 5th or 6th time this arm has been hit with black. It's probably only the 3rd time I've had the whole thing re-blacked, but in terms of touch-ups, we've done a lot on this arm, so it's gotten pretty beaten up over the years, and I'm kind of hoping that that'll be the last time for a while, because these areas in here got really swollen and really rubbery as soon as we start working on them. You can see how textured it is in there. There's a lot of swelling and trauma in there right now, and it's probably going to be quite swollen for 3 or 4 days, and that is entirely normal. I get a lot of people asking me how common it is for things to swell, or if it's okay if it's swelling, things like that. Yes, it is perfectly normal, and in most cases, swelling isn't going to mean anything bad for your tattoo. It's just your body's retaining water in that area to try and heal the tattoo. There's a lot of damage there. If I did another video, for example, in a few days, you'd see that this arm was back to normal. But right now, it's like if I put up both my biceps, like it's clear. Like this one, you can barely even see the difference when I flex comparatively. I'm not trying to show off, oh, I've got big muscles or anything like that, but like you can just see that this arm is heavily swollen right now. Things you can do when you're swelling, you can ice the area. I don't generally do that. Take some ibuprofen to bring the swelling down, elevate your arm, just try and take it easy. Whatever, just don't obviously don't do any workouts with your arm. Typically when I get my arms tattooed, I take 4 or 5 days off working out, and I'm the kind of guy that normally does about 15 minutes of exercise every day, so it puts me off for a few days and then I get back to normal generally. But yeah, so this arm will probably be swollen, like I said, probably till Saturday. It's Thursday during the time of filming this, Saturday or Sunday. And then right around the time the swelling goes down, I expect the peeling will start. I usually peel about 3 or 4 days after I get tattooed, and that's around a normal time for me to start peeling. Now, as I said in an earlier video, I had a whole bunch of weird work done in here, so typically for most people it might not be as painful as this session was for me if you didn't have a ton of scarring you're going over. But the more scarred an area gets, the more painful it is to go over it, usually. There are some areas of me that are so callous that I barely even feel the needles anymore, as odd as that sounds. But in some areas like the inner bicep, they don't really callus that way. It just gets more painful. So while I would say inner bicep is not a very painful area in general to get tattooed, each area does seem to feel a little different or a little more sensation every time I go over them. So that's changing a little every time. I do plan on, once these biceps are fully healed after the re-black, I plan on doing 2 line work, white line work pieces over top of them. I haven't exactly decided on the particulars of them, so I won't quite get into that, but I do have an idea for each of them. And I think it'll be really cool when I can start sharing that. But that'll be after I finish the filigrees I have planned for my throat and the tentacles that I have planned for my stomach. I am planning on starting the tentacles probably up in this area and bridging them down onto the waist so that it goes with the flow of the body a bit better than the old tentacles did, because the old tentacles had like a weird framing effect that I felt like made it look like I was wearing a shirt, and I'd rather have something that kind of works better with the whole flow of the torso into the waist so that it doesn't look like so broken up from the legs. One of the nice things about having a full blackout suit to go over now is that I get to decide and plan from almost zero how I want to lay everything out, the way that I could have done when I was younger if I had the vision. And I don't think that too many youngsters have the vision to plan a full bodysuit with no tattoos. So that's kind of one of the nice things about having a full black bodysuit is now if you want to, you can lay out better plans than you could have made when you were real young, or did make when you were real young. You could frame this as an argument to wait until you're older, like quite a bit older, to have tattoos, but then again, you have a lot less fun experimenting and playing around that way, I think. So some of your mistakes are not mistakes, they're just fun learning moments, or they have been for me anyway. Yeah, so that's my current tattoo progress. Again, a little bit swollen, gonna be probably a lot more swollen tonight after work, but that's okay. I know what I'm looking at. I know how it will go. There again, you can see the difference in the old black, real clear line with the new black, and then less of a line with the black we've already done here. This will be more how this looks when it's healed. It will even out and join up with this. So quite a bit darker than the old stuff, but still not as dark as day one. That never happens. If anyone ever tells you that it will stay as it is day one, they're peddling nonsense. But it will stay pretty dark if you do it consistently enough, or with an artist that really knows what they're doing. For piercings, I do have a small update to share. I've been taking it pretty slow with my forward helixes. I want to really take those slow, so they haven't changed any. I'm waiting for them to fully heal before I go again, because the tissue there is quite thin and I don't really want to rush it. It's one of the last places I'm planning on stretching anyway, so it's fine to just pick away at. But they are at 8 gauges respectively. So I plan on getting those to 4 or 2 gauge in the end. And the other update I have to share is I've been talking about decreasing the size of my Labret a little bit lately. And I've decided that I'm not going to decrease the size yet. First, I'm going to decrease the length and change the inside of it. Now, when you get a custom-built Labret, you can decide things like wing depth and wing length. So right now, mine goes back a good amount. It goes back 4.5 millimeters on the depth. You can see in there. Oh, a little drooly, sorry. That's what happens when you play with your Labret. And the wing length is 4.5 as well. While the one that I built that I'm going to be wearing soon is going to be a little shorter and not go back quite as far. It'll be 4.5 wing length and 4.5 wing depth. And that could help my movability with my lip, because it is slightly limited with every time you increase the size of your lip. This is something you can't necessarily learn without doing it. The more, or the bigger the piece is, the less movability your mouth ends up with. So um, that's something people should be aware of when they're gauging up their lip. It doesn't mean, oh, I can't smile. I can smile. I can smile psychotically like I just did. I can give you a big old grin still, but there is less movement in my lip than there used to be at smaller sizes. Now, you don't necessarily need to downsize, but where my lip is so healed, it almost wants to keep stretching. So I'm going to try and get a lighter made piece. Stone Wolf is hollowing out a piece for me. It's going to be the same diameter. It'll still be 26 millimeters, but the inside of it will be hollow. It'll be 3 millimeters less long, like shorter. So I won't be able to fit an O-ring on the outside of it anymore. It'll sit flush with my lip almost, so it won't pull as much when I'm talking. And that should make the weight of the piece and the pull of the piece substantially less. And then overall, it should make it a little more comfortable and wearable long term. And I shouldn't have the same stretching effect that I have now. Lately at night, to keep it tighter, I've been taking it out overnight while I sleep. And I do feel like it sort of resets the stretch that happens throughout a day. Because as you wear it throughout the day, talk, eat, and just live in a Labret, it gets sort of looser to the point where during one of my 2.5 hour podcasts, it can get to the point where it's so moist that sometimes it will start to leak around the bottom. Not like drool leak, like big time, just it gets a little wet. And so in order to stop that from happening, I've been taking it out overnight to seal it up a bit more. So I'm hoping that with this newer piece, I can wear it comfortably, and because it won't be as heavy and it won't have that work of gravity where it's too long, pulling forward while I'm talking and eating and all that, and I won't have that to worry about. Again, it doesn't really do that normally. It's just I found that happens when I'm talking for hours on end in the podcast. And again, it's not something that I can't deal with now or anything like that. It's just when you're doing body mods as a lifestyle, I find that there's a bit of a learning experience and growing experience and nuance to finding out the right pieces and what's comfortable. Like for this cartilage, for example, I'm still battling back and forth with it, where right now it's comfortable, but sleeping in this piece doesn't work. So I have to put a different piece in to sleep with. So it does become a bit of a lifestyle and a bit of a struggle for comfort. If you want to do this stuff, you need to be prepared to kind of work with it and find what works for you. So it's a lot more than just looking weird and having big holes and black tattoos. As I said before in an older video, because of my black tattoos, I can't really go out in the sun anymore without basically setting on fire like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer style vampire. You know, I have to cover up now. So some of these things that you do are permanent life changers that are more than just a look or an aesthetic. They're also like a change of experience for the rest of your life. And I think there needs to be more insight and information available on this stuff. Like you go and Google stretched Labret problems, and there's almost nothing that comes up because there's been nothing written about it by anyone that has any experience. So that's part of why, again, I'm doing this YouTube channel, is to not necessarily give the science, but definitely the life experience of someone that's lived with these mods as something for people to consult with, maybe for some reference if these sorts of things happen to them. Anyway, sorry to get a little bit ranty again, but yeah, that's where I'm at now. And the next appointment will be in 2 weeks. We will be filling this last area. There isn't much left on this arm before it's fully blacked out again. And then we'll be, we're planning on stipple shading this rose. So there'll be lots of dots added in for shading. And that'll be really cool to show off as the lines have healed quite well. We might rerun this line because it's a little bit soft compared to these lines in here. But overall, the rose healed great. This is now a couple months old, and it's looking real sharp still. No real dropout, but the dots are going to really help the rose stand out, I think, amongst the black. And yeah, I look forward to showing that off. So, all right, thanks.